Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We're streaming out live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Rumble, also BitChute, possibly on a few other platforms. I think I've left out X, of course. How could we forget the former Twitter hangout, now known as X, and also on the audio streams after the show. Thank you guys for joining us. A little late start today. We had some technical difficulties with one of our streaming providers or platforms whose name shall be not mentioned for their technical snafus constantly. Anyway, we wish them the best. We hope that they get their act together. But anyway, it's great to have you. Episode 564 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis program. And we had a great midweek wire, and we'll throw that up on screen right now for any of you that missed it. This was an epic interview with a special contributor to 21st Century Wire, Yara Madarelli, journalist, activist. She was on board the Freedom Flotilla, or the Global Sumud Flotilla, as it's called. And she was there, and she basically shared her story with us. It was a fantastic discussion and long form interview that went out on Thursday live. And we got some great feedback from this. Some people said they cried during parts of it because it was just so emotional. But full blow by blow account there from Yada. I mean, fantastic effort by her and her crew members. And we did interview her with Tagged Hickey from Ireland before they were apprehended by the Israelis. But you can check that out at the top of our features section at 21stcenturywire.com, among other great pieces of content that are available this week. Now, we're going to talk about a couple of important subjects today during this first segment. Then in the Overdrive segment, we'll be joined by our teammates, Hesher, Ruckus, possibly Freddie Ponton might even join us to weigh in, as well as Basil Valentine. So it'll be a full house if everybody shows up. But the illusion of peace, that's the theme of today's program for this Sunday Wire. The illusion of peace. And what do we mean by that? The illusion of peace. What do we mean by that? Let's talk about the illusion of peace. What does that mean exactly? And we'll talk about that, among other things, as well as the Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize was issued also this past week, and it's no secret that Donald Trump was pining for that award. I mean, to think he would actually qualify for it is another matter altogether. But yeah, he was pining for it. He was expecting it. Didn't get it in the end. Well, we'll go through those two issues. Now, the first is this so-called ceasefire, this so-called peace deal that Trump is touting along with Washington and Netanyahu. And we got a few things to say about that. We'll talk about that. We'll bring that up on screen to discuss this ceasefire. And is it a ceasefire? That's the question. Here are three con artists: Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet. Steve Witkoff is Netanyahu's special envoy for the Middle East. And then Jared Kushner is Netanyahu's Minister of Real Estate Development. And they're there in Tel Aviv with their boss. And you can see on the back wall there is a small picture of the U.S. president, very insignificant. This weak leader in the White House, pretending to be an alpha male, but in the end, he's just basically a lapdog of the man in the middle and the lobby that controls him, the lobby that selected Trump's cabinet. Okay? If you don't like that, I'm sorry, that's just a fact. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is, folks. You know, we don't make the rules. Israel does. I'm just reporting on how it is. And some people might find that to be upsetting. But we have, very weak president, very compromised president who's covering up the Epstein files for obvious reasons. So basically, a foreign government's in charge of the United States, in charge of their foreign policy, directs their military. I mean, this is probably the lowest point in U.S. history. The United States is so vulnerable and compromised right now. It's at its lowest ebb in its history. And Donald Trump is the man who is presiding over this debacle. So who is this guy? So we call Steve Witkoff the Del Boy of diplomacy. If you're British, you know what that means. Del Boy, only fools and horses. If you're American and you watch PBS, public broadcasting, you get some BBC, you get some British TV, you might see Fools and Horses. It's a funny show. But Del Boy is this sort of charlatan that pretends to be an expert on things, but in the end, he's just a charlatan looking to make a quick buck and usually sort of talking well above his pay grade. Steve Witkoff is basically the Del Boy of diplomacy, a con artist, an absolute con artist. So that's where we are. That's where we're at. And unfortunately, Donald Trump has brought in all these real estate charlatans that have been appointed by Israel, and they're giddy right now because they're about to get their sort of life's work is right ahead of them. They've managed to ethnically cleanse, to genocide and ethnically cleanse the native Palestinian population that they call Arabs, who they don't see as full humans. And they think that's better to just kill them and drive them out of what they believe is greater Israel that was somehow promised to them by God like 3,000 years ago or something. I mean, they just made up this whole myth about the modern state of Israel, the whole Zionist myth. And now you're seeing it in its final stages, and you can see how horrific and truly demonic these people are. So we don't make it up. And to add insult to injury, this is the official Prime Minister of Israel's Twitter account. Look at that. Look at that. That's an AI generated image posted by Bibi Netanyahu's office of Trump getting the Nobel Prize ahead of the Friday announcement. I mean, if you're an American and you're sort of cheering this on when you see this, do you realize what a ritual humiliation this is? Do you realize what a mockery Israel, or basically really rubbing it in the faces of Americans like we run your country? We own the White House. We own this president, this reality TV show, Apprentice, Mr. Apprentice. We own him. Jeff Epstein has the receipts, the insurance policy. Donald Trump even ordered that it be covered up after campaigning that he was going to, make it all public and da, 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 da. So anyway, that's the ritual humiliation right there. I'll just blow that image up for you guys. That's our title image today. Peace through strength, apparently, supposedly. So that Donald Trump, can you imagine? They've dropped the equivalent of 13 Hiroshima bombs on Gaza to try to kill everybody there. And those are all U.S. weapons, many of them supplied by Donald Trump. And Netanyahu, the genocidal fascist freak, nominates Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, talk about making a mockery of the award. I mean, you couldn't make this up. These people are completely insane and sadistic. I mean, this is a joke. This is beyond a joke. This is the state of the world right now, folks. That's the official Israeli Prime Minister's X account right there. Right there. That's what he tweeted. Honestly, there it is. Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. So he just started a couple of wars already, lied about ending the Ukraine war. Now he's escalating. Wants to give Tomahawk missiles to the to Zelensky, another little warmongering puppet. How is that Peace Prize material? Honestly, like this is a joke, right? It's a joke. It should be a joke. But the MAGA crowd are clapping. They think, yeah, that's our guy. That's our team. That's our team. Yeah, really. That's your guy. No dignity, no honor, just clicks, likes, reposts. Of course, all of this gets prime positioning, and Elon Musk puts all this content in the fast lane on X, and my account and people like myself are heavily throttled. That's how it works. So there we are. I mean, what to say about these guys? So let's talk about this peace plan. Let's talk about this peace plan. This so-called peace plan that these charlatans are running here. These guys. This is not a peace plan. It's not even a ceasefire. It's not. I'll show you what happened when they announced the ceasefire. I'll show you what Israel did. This is what Israel did. They didn't waste any time. The Palestinians went out to celebrate the fact that there was a ceasefire, and this is from Reuters, by the way. Israel then has their tanks firing at the Palestinians while they're celebrating the ceasefire. I mean, honestly. It is. So the Israeli tanks firing on Palestinians that were out celebrating the ceasefire. So I guess it wasn't a ceasefire, at least not for Israel. Look at that.
الآن على الهواء مباشرة.
نرجو أن تتوقوا الحذر ونذكر بأن المكتب الإعلامي الحكومي
هذه قذيفة مباشرة من
Honestly, it's a bad joke. So that's how seriously Israel took the ceasefire and immediately started. I mean, most people, you know, they'd want a ceasefire. Most people would sort of down tools, but Israel's one of the only countries that, between the announcement that there's going to be a ceasefire and whatever the official time frame is, they look at that window as an opportunity to see how many people they can kill during that window before it comes into effect. I mean, these are really messed up, really sick and deranged. The Israeli government, the society, the military, it's hard to find words to describe this sort of level of inhumanity of these people. It's quite extraordinary. Anyway, that was the ceasefire. And then Del Boy, Kushner, I mean, imagine sending your son-in-law in, who basically is taking money, who's running this fake Abraham Accords gambit, taking money from the Gulf Arabs, at the same time prospecting the redevelopment of Gaza after a genocide. I mean, is there any part of this that isn't really disgusting? And I mean, this is sick. And then Witkoff, Steve Witkoff, Del Boy, this guy during the last round of so-called peace negotiations was then at a pro-Israeli lobby gala black tie dinner in New York, promising to bring it home for Israel to the donor class. And he's supposed to be in charge of the so-called negotiations. Totally biased, literally having speaking at a gala dinner for the lobby on the eve of negotiations. This was a couple of months ago, I think in July or whatever. I mean, it's like, this is a bad joke. So Trump has no control over anything. The lobby selects all of his cabinet members. They specifically asked for Marco Rubio. Specifically. And a number of others. Mike Waltz, etc. Elise Stefanik, because they knew they had these people were bought and paid for. They own them. It's and they're still running around doing deals. They're still running around doing deals. So that I don't really think that Israel's going to abide by a ceasefire. You know what? And as I said previously on other programs, I still won't deny the Palestinians a little bit of breathing room so they can at least eat, so they can at least sleep without having bombs and these annoying Israeli drones going overhead 24/7, looking for people to kill. So at least the Palestinians get some respite. The children can play without fear of having a 500-pound bomb dropped on their tent, which is what these animals have been doing with their F-35s for 2 years now. Okay, and you think that language is harsh? The Israelis call the Palestinians human animals. Yoav Gallant, who's indicted in the International Criminal Court for war crimes, along with Benjamin Netanyahu, called the Palestinians human animals, and they need to be wiped out. As Netanyahu says, the Amalek, kill every last man, woman, child, and kill their livestock. Quoting biblical scripture. I mean, it's disgusting, these people. But that's okay. But if myself or some commentator describes the IDF as animals, that's while they're committing a genocide, while they're prosecuting a Holocaust right in front of our eyes, that's I guess could be deemed as anti-Semitic. I mean, it's just totally crazy. This is totally insane. So, but the good news is, folks, this framing, this insane gaslighting is not having an effect anymore. People are sick of it. They're sick of it. They're sick of being told that what they're seeing in front of their eyes isn't happening, and that it's all Hamas's fault. As Israel rains bombs down on children and women in tents at night, refugees in tents, they're bombing them. And these people are telling us, the media is telling us, the Trump administration's telling us that it's the Palestinians' fault. They deserve it. They deserve to be killed. You know, the latest academic study, 680,000 dead or missing, including excess deaths, okay? Excess deaths. 680,000, not counted. The Gaza Ministry of Health doesn't have the facilities. A lot of their records have even been destroyed. They don't have the capability. The civil service, the civil rescue services can't find all the bodies. Many of them are under rubble. Excess deaths from starvation, dysentery, disease, injuries, heart attacks, lack of medical care, everything like that. Excess death. You remember that term during COVID, excess deaths? 680,000. The official number is 70,000, way more than that by now. You've seen what the hellscape looks like. So anyway, we'll leave it there for the moment. But so at best, what you're looking at here is a strategic pause. A strategic pause to give Israel time to rearm, to give Israel time and the United States time to rebuild the so-called Iron Dome, to prepare, because they want to attack Iran. And all indications are that the United States and Israel are planning to restart the war against Iran before Christmas. And Trump wants to get it done, we're told, before Christmas. Actually, he wants to get it done before November or December, by the first week of December, because apparently, in Washington, they have plans for Christmas. Nobody wants to have to change their schedule over the holidays. So that's where it's at. That is where it's at. So I noticed we have, Hold on. We will have a few guests that we're not going to connect any guests until overtime. So if anybody is coming in the green room, please drop off and we will reconnect you during the overdrive segment. If you could, that would be great. I see a few people coming in here a little bit too early. Yes. So that's that story. We'll leave it there. And the other reason is because they have a 0% record. We'll bring Zachary Foster up on screen here. Zach Foster. An end to the industrial scale slaughter of Palestinians is welcome. But if history is any guide, Israel will violate the deal like it has every other deal. Israel's words and agreements and promises are toxic nuclear waste, says Palestine scholar Zachary Foster. Is one of the most one of the best sort of scholars on this topic. Here's if you go to Zachary's X feed, he's done some it's fantastic academic research here. He's a PhD, Dr. Zachary Foster. A history of ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas, 2008 to present. Each deal followed a similar trajectory. Hamas mostly observes it. Israel mostly did not. Praying this time is different, says Zach Foster. This is deal number 7 in this round of deals. Apparently agreed yesterday. So Israel has a 0% record for abiding by any ceasefires. 0%. Obviously, they've broken every one. Very sad, but this is what they do. And this is interesting. So Witkoff is under a lot of heat. This guy, Del Boy, is getting a lot of heat. So the Witkoff family is threatening the New York Times with a defamation lawsuit. The Witkoff family and the Witkoff group. Oh, he's got his own group. He's got his own property group. Threatened the New York Times with a defamation lawsuit last Thursday over an article that claimed that Qatar had curried favor with the family. They're all thick like thieves, these people. As we told you, Jared Kushner has used the Abraham Accords, the so-called peace agreement that was never agreed on. We didn't even invite the Palestinians. It was drafted in absentia. And all it is a big front for massive billions and billions in real estate development in the region. That's all it is. And Witkoff definitely wants a piece of that action. Kushner is running point on it. It's just kind of disgusting, the whole thing. These people are shameless. Absolutely shameless. But anyway, let's talk about the Nobel Peace Prize. So Trump clearly didn't get it. Who won the Nobel Peace Prize? Let's look at that. This is who won the Nobel Peace Prize. Maria Corina Machado. Maria Corina Machado. They gave her the Nobel Peace Prize for allegedly promoting democratic rights in Venezuela. This woman is probably the last person you should give the Nobel Peace Prize. I will argue that this is the most politicized Nobel Award. I mean, it was bad enough they gave it to Obama before he even practically was sworn in as president. He didn't do anything. And they gave it to him to encourage that he does peace. And what he do? He ran 7 wars during 2 terms. Total debacle. As a small consolation, Obama negotiated the JCPOA Iran nuclear deal, which we now know the CIA and U.S. intelligence always planned to scrap. That was a bait and switch, or in basketball terms, a massive head fake. But this woman, she helped orchestrate 2 failed coups under the first Trump administration in Venezuela. She has done more in terms of fomenting violence in Venezuela. She's calling for regime change. She's working with the United States to illegally overthrow. I mean, it's not very democratic. So this is a hugely politicized selection. This is basically pointing towards a regime change operation. So the Nobel Prize is now captured by the CIA. And we'll show you exactly how. There's rumors that Maria Cortina Machado is a CIA asset. And now we can see she's also a darling of the World Economic Forum. Surprise, surprise. So she's working with Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, and they're talking about a war in Venezuela, the United States to invade or ramp up attacks against the so-called regime. And she's the one, she's the, well, we'll show you. She's being positioned to be the next U.S. recognized president. So you don't have to be elected, as Juan Guaido proved. You just sort of go to Washington, and then the White House declares you president of Venezuela. I mean, stupid. But that's kind of how they've been doing it. Meanwhile, Venezuela has an actual president who the majority of the people support and voted for, who's popular. His name is Nicolas Maduro. So, but Machado. So this is the current Juan Guaido. His name's Edmundo Gonzalez. The U.S. recognizes him as president-elect, even though he wasn't elected to anything. And he has appointed Maria Cortina Machado as his executive vice president. So when he steps down, she becomes the U.S. recognized, quote, president. That's all. That's a done deal. That's a done deal. See, she couldn't run. The reason she couldn't run, she was running a grift. She basically, she accepted a position as Panama's diplomat on behalf of the United States and the direction of the U.S. She did a Saakashvili. You remember when Saakashvili was parachuted into Odessa as a failed Georgian president by John McCain to install him as the governor of Odessa in preparation for the war that we all know eventually came. He wasn't Ukrainian. Saakashvili wasn't Ukrainian. He ended up getting run out of the country by the Ukrainians. It was so bad. So they tried to do a Saakashvili, the U.S., by parachuting her into Panama. Probably something to do with the canal issue. And by doing that, she made herself ineligible to run for office. It's tantamount to treason, actually, but she made herself ineligible to run for office in Venezuela. I mean, nobody talks about this in the U.S. They just overlook all this. These people, it's a joke. So she supposedly gets the Nobel Prize for promoting democratic democracy. It's beyond a joke. But anyway, so this is how the media are pumping her up, you see. Here's the Rolling Stone. We will prevail. Venezuela's opposition leader is not giving up. You see? And there's so many think tanks, everybody's giving her the Juan Guaido treatment. They're grooming her to be the next face of democracy by a U.S.-backed civil war or a regime change invasion or war, who knows. They want to see some bloodshed in Venezuela. The U.S. wants it. Trump wants it bad. They want to see war in our hemisphere so the United States can flex its muscles. And Marco Rubio can puff his chest out. So is she a CIA asset? That's the question. Is Maria Corina Machado a CIA asset? A lot of people believe she is. And they've been saying that since 2005. She's been at it for a while. And it looks like she's working for Uncle Sam. And you're probably thinking, how could I say that? How could I say she's working for Uncle Sam? Well, I don't know. Let's just do some research, basic research. Oh, this is an interesting article. Venezuela's Attorney General to CNN. This is September 2024. The NGO SUMAT has no electoral authority. What is this NGO SUMAT? What do? They're trying to run polls and trying to run elections in Venezuela. They're muscling in this NGO. Let's look at this for a moment. There it is. Suamate or Sumat. So they're supposedly, pro-democracy NGO controlling polling and elections across a large portion of the Venezuelan electoral system. Where do they get their funding from? Let's take a look. The National Endowment for Democracy. The National Endowment for Democracy. It's a known CIA front, a regime change front. This is known. And who's the founder of Sumat? Who founded this NGO that's funded by the CIA front, the National Endowment for Democracy? Who started this NGO? Where do they come from? Who's behind them? Well, there's the founder. It's Maria Corina Machado, the founder of the CIA front, CIA-funded front, National Endowment for Democracy, fueling this so-called democratic NGO. So she's supporting the failed coups. She's fronting a national endowment, a NED-funded. NED is the CIA cutout. And they give her the Nobel Peace Prize. Wow, this is good. This is good. You couldn't make this up. It's so bad right now. This is so transparent. so obviously, what a con, what a scam. I mean, there's no end to what these people are capable of. This is we're in a very, very bad place right now. I think you've got a very unstable U.S. president who's very weak, who's being run by all of these charlatans and hacks, many of them who the Israelis have installed into the Trump cabinet. And he's digging himself holes everywhere, and he wants to dig a new one in South America. Not going well. The economy's not going well. The tariff wars are a failure. He's not going to be able to balance the U.S. deficit by punishing people with tariffs. He just passed 100% tariff on China. I mean, you go ahead. You can't reverse, globalization in a year or 3 or 4 or 8. It's not going to happen. That was a 50-year process. 50-year process. You think, Trump, you can reverse all that. And meanwhile, hyperinflation is definitely moving in America. They cannot control the price of anything. And one of the big people to blame for the inflation is Trump in his first term. During COVID, the Fed plopped something like, 20 trillion on the balance sheet. More money was put on the balance sheet. More fake money was printed during COVID, during Trump's first term. Well, Trump started, Biden continued it. So actually, Trump started the scam and Biden took it and ran with it in 2021, 2022. That was the Operation Warp Speed lockdown scam that put, but at the moment, it's 20 trillion and growing. If you count the funds that are still circulating, all the funny money, paying people to stay home and not work, paying for this, paying for that, PPE, paying for the vaccines, paying the hospitals for COVID care. All that costs money. That money was printed out of thin air, and it's caused an inflationary cycle the United States can't get out of. Thank you, Donald Trump. When have you heard Donald Trump come to the American people and say, look, I was duped during COVID. I'm sorry. That inflationary cycle we're in, I'm partly responsible for that. You don't have people of integrity that would ever admit such a gargantuan failures when quite clearly that was Trump. That was you, Donald. No, it wasn't me. It was Biden's fault. It was Biden. It wouldn't have happened if I was president. It did happen, and you were president. This Ukraine war, it's Biden's war. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's Biden. Would never have happened. No, it did happen. You escalated the conflict in Ukraine, Donald. You sent javelins, beautiful javelins, beautiful javelins. You sent the Obama was too weak to send lethal aid. I did it. Obama was sending blankets. No, that means that you escalated arming the Ukrainians to NATO standard as they were attacking the Donbass to provoke Russia to intervene in February 2022. You started that, Donald. You ramped up NATO activity in Ukraine, all of the big drills. Yeah, that was you. And Syria, you occupied Syria in your first term. Yeah, a new war, a new occupation. No one wants to give Trump credit for that. You kept on attacking Yemen in your first term, and then you started a new war with Yemen and started a war with Iran. Now you're escalating. You want to send tomahawks to Zelensky. And what do you want to do in Gaza? Well, you don't want a Palestinian state. You claim you want peace, but you want peace, but not for the Palestinians. You want to basically bomb them out of existence and drive them into the Sinai Desert in Jordan and South Lebanon or wherever you can push them. It's called ethnic cleansing. That's not peace. That's a war crime. So what are you talking about? Tell us something that you've done that's right. You can't find it, can you? It doesn't exist. That's the problem. That's the problem, folks. Sorry to point out the obvious. Pretty incredible. Just to remind people what this peace president has done. Here's what U.S. gear has done. Take a look at this. Just so you know. Just a little, reminder. Well, we'll first start with this. What it looks like. You see, that's what 21 billion in U.S. arms since October 7th buys you. Completely depopulated, scorched earth, 680,000 dead and missing. Nothing left. Gone. 13 Hiroshima bombs, the equivalent. 200,000 tons of explosives dropped on Gaza. American explosives. American explosives. American explosives. Again, here's Zachary Foster. Posted this. I mean, look at that. Look at this horrific. So that peace. Oh, they want peace. They want peace. Trump wants peace. No. Witkoff and Kushner licking their chops, thinking they can build some Dubai high-rises there, a few resorts on the beautiful Gaza beaches. Meanwhile, the Palestinians go out to get fish to eat, and they're attacked by the Israeli Navy. They were allowed to go out and fish because the global Sumut flotilla tied up the Israeli pirate forces long enough. The Palestinians managed to get a couple fishing boats out. Israel won't even let them catch fish. It's just sadistic. It's really disgusting. There's one more. Here's another one. So now they want peace now. They want peace. Really. honestly, whoever's still in MAGA that's supporting this, you're just insane and deranged, immoral. You've lost the plot. You think this is okay? Oh, this is Hamas's fault. Oh, let's blame Hamas. No, you're gonna have to own this one. You guys are gonna own this forever. In history and perpetuity, you're gonna own this. This is you. All of you. All of you guys. Pretending this didn't happen, and oh, the Palestinians aren't starving. Telling us that that these images are all staged. This is Pallywood. It's all fake. It's not happening. Nobody in Gaza is starving. That's what Ben Shapiro and everybody else has been saying. Jordan Peterson is nowhere to be found on this issue. He's probably cowering and he's locked himself in a closet somewhere, and he's probably crying in horror at what he said or didn't say. I mean, he's just gone completely AWOL. Probably sedated on prescription medication or something. Yeah, they'll tell you this didn't happen. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. That didn't happen. Oh, remember the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation? Remember that scam? Remember that scam? Well, it turns out when this so-called deal was signed, they claimed that they were feeding the Palestinians. And here's the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Here, this is what their base looks like the day after. So their little concentration camp, they just cut the concentration camps they built to give away morsels of boxed food that had probably no nutritional value at all, to make it look like they were doing something while they were shooting Palestinians queuing for food. They just cut and run. They just cut and run. And then there were 600 trucks waiting at the border, as they have been for 2 years. And finally, Israel, after 2 years, lets the daily amount of trucks was over 400 a day, normally supplying Gaza. They suspended all that for the most part for 2 years to try to starve the Palestinians and destroy them, kill them, drive them into Egypt while they're being bombed. And they set up this scam called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. U.S. intelligence and Mossad exposed. And yeah, so they didn't care too much about feeding the Palestinians anymore, I guess. They've abandoned their concentration camps they set up for the Palestinians, what they call feeding points. So Israel and the U.S. bombed UNRWA, the UN Relief and Works Agency, demonized them, attacked them, bombed them, claimed they're a terrorist organization, the UN agency. Killed hundreds of UN workers, by the way, Israel's killed. And then set up this fake Gaza Humanitarian Foundation with U.S. mercenaries. Everybody in the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, as it's called, every single person involved in this needs to be indicted. Every single, especially at the top end, the business, the board level. It's a criminal outfit. And all the mercenaries who served, except for Anthony Aguilera, who's a whistleblower, unless you guys blow the whistle, all the mercs who participated in this should all be tried for war crimes and should all be locked up and put away for life. All of them. It's disgusting what they did. These people are the lowest of the low. They got paid for that. They're probably on like $1,000 a day. Like $1,000 a day. At least, maybe 1,500 a day. They got paid for that. These people are the lowest of the low. This is the cul du sac, as they say in French, bottom of the bag. They just cut and run. They just left. Left their concentration camps. So that's what that's all about. Great bunch of professional humanitarians. What can we say? So we'll see how long this one lasts. Let's talk about this and more on the other side in Overdrive. Hopefully we've got a few people joining us. Looking forward to it. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. This is episode 564 of the Sunday Wire. There's some crazy things going on in the world. I honestly don't know what to say about half of this stuff anymore. It's just gotten to a level of insanity that's just hard to comprehend. And watching the media try to play this off like it's normal. Wow. Anyway, we'll be back in a few minutes. In the meantime, enjoy the music of, we'll play Joseph Arthur's seminal song, which he wrote right after October 7th, called Ceasefire Now. So far ahead of the curve, Joseph. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Digital images and digital lies cut out their heart along with their supply. The propaganda leads to dehumanize our fellow humans and silence their cries. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. Without for all, or else mankind will surely fall. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now in Gaza somehow. 'Cause this might be the last time to raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are? This might be the last time I raise a hand about who we are. What's this say about who we are?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sunday Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We are streaming out live on X, on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook Live, BitChute as well, and on the audio streams after the program. Hopefully you guys are catching us wherever you're catching us, on iTunes or any of the major platforms. Great to have you with us. We see a lot of comments coming in. We've had about 500 comments on the streams during the opening monologue. We'll start showcase some of the better comments from our listeners who generally know what's going on, and I think they probably do here as well. So we'll share some of that. We'll bring some of our teammates on stage as well for discussions about these and other issues, reactions, and then we'll hopefully connect a few. I'm going to bring a few on stage right now. I'm going to bring on Hesher, host of the Boiler Room here, who's also guest hosting the Sunday Wire last couple of weeks. And those programs were fantastic. But great to have you with us, Hesher.
Hey, great to be here, Patrick. Really appreciated the opening monologue today. Put a lot of things into perspective, and very glad to be with you once again.
Great to have you as well. And I'll bring on Ruckus as well, host of the Daily Ruckus here. I'm sure he's got some visual surprises for us. He's been honing his skills. But you guys, I don't know if you saw Yara Mondarelli, who you had a chance to speak to with Tag Hickey while they're on the flotilla before they're apprehended a couple weeks ago on the Sunday Wire. And I'll bring on stage here just to look at her. Well, that was the interview there, which was a long form interview, went out Thursday live. But we also had, let me see if we have the image here. I don't know if you caught this. That was the image of them as they came out of, I think this was in Barcelona. This might have been in Spain. So that they just got off the chartered flight. They didn't give them their passports until this moment. So they took their passports when they, pirated their ships, the Israelis. They didn't see their passports till they landed in Spain, which is a complete violation of their rights by Israel, but that's par for the course. But there's Yara there. You can see her on the lower right hand side there, and it's just complete. What a moment for them, and just for the rest of the flotilla. They just did a tremendous job. I mean, props to all these people for putting it on the line. you got a little taste of what that was like when you had that conversation with them via Starlink as they're approaching Israeli-controlled waters and the drone attacks, all the rest of it. But your thoughts, you guys, on Hesher, your thoughts on this?
Well, first off, I'm just glad that almost everybody is safe and accounted for. Last I heard, there was still someone that was unaccounted for. Maybe there's an update on that. And yeah, I was able to catch some of the midweek wire, and very, very harrowing to hear the story of everything that happened. And I don't know, just glad to see, most of them have been released at this point. As far as how they were treated, that's another story.
Yeah. It's great to see everybody back. And she's talking about another flotilla in the spring. They got weather issues. Israel has weather issues with airstrikes during these months too. So maybe this is one of the reasons why they chose this for a so-called ceasefire. Ruckus, your thoughts on the flotilla, Yara's release, and her interview on the midweek?
Sure. I know this may shock y'all, but I actually caught the Midweek Wire live. I try to do that when I can. I also then immediately posted a second copy of that up on Alternate Current Radio's website just to make sure nobody missed it. So if you have not seen that interview yet, I highly, highly recommend that you do. It was fantastic. Very, very good. Well put together. It wasn't overly emotional. It wasn't too serious, but it was just all the right things. It was fact. It was truth. It was an on-the-ground eyewitness account of one of the most talked about events of our lifetime. And a very important one. And a lot of these flotilla members have been making the rounds, making some excellent interview comments. They're not just coming out saying, like what you might expect. I mean, these people are incredibly brave. They're incredibly perseverant. Some of them literally almost lost their lives during this incident. So again, nothing but the highest amount of respect for them. And yes, please check out the interview with Ayara. And then Taig's been making the rounds as well, who we spoke to a couple weeks ago. So, and he was on George Galloway's show just recently. That was a great interview too.
Yeah. We tried to get Tag on today, but he's too many media opportunities this weekend. We'll try to get him during the week. And yeah, I mean, I got so much respect for these guys that what they did is historic, and the timing of it. And you could make the argument the mainstream media were having to cover this. It created such a multi-splash in different countries that they were forced to cover it. They were forced to cover the Israeli drone attacks in international waters, and then cover the fact that some of the people were abused. And they nearly got one or two ships through, because and as Yara said, if they just had a couple more, she said with maybe 55. If they had 55 boats, it would have been enough to overwhelm the Israelis, and a few would have got through. One nearly did get through. The Maikino nearly got through 9 nautical miles offshore. And it was just heartbreaking to see the Palestinians waiting on the beach for them. I mean, oh my gosh, it's gut-wrenching. But what a great effort. And then so they did create some pressure to for the ceasefire. Certainly they added to the embarrassment for the Israelis and the Americans on this, as well as the Europeans. So hats off to them. And they tied up the Israeli Navy long enough that some people got a chance to fish. That's insane. So they did get some food through indirectly by nature of the fact they tied up the Israelis. I mean, how sadistic of the Israelis to not allow Palestinians to fish the last 2 years. Sick.
It's crazy.
Well, and they did that to themselves too, Pat, because there was a great amount of overkill in the response. They sent way too many, 20 Navy members armed to the teeth for each one flotilla member. I mean, from what I can tell, I'm just guessing here. But I mean, yeah, they could have left a few people behind. So I'm glad they didn't, because yes, some people got some food in their belly, which was the whole point of the mission to begin with. So that was cool.
And Yara said they threw the aid overboard when they boarded the ships. I mean, so diapers and baby formula floating in the Med, you know. So it's the world's most moral army, we're told.
Great. Yeah, with
Right.
morals like these. I mean, geez, who needs enemies?
So I know that they said we don't want to be, called heroes or whatever, but I won't call them heroes, but what they did is heroic. And I think, well, hopefully there'll be more. They're talking about 100 boats on the next flotilla. So when is that going to be? We don't know, but it takes a while to put it together. We'll see how long this current pause lasts. But Israel's made it very clear they have no interest in recognizing any Palestinian state, and B, they're not going to allow Hamas or Palestinians to have any way of defending themselves. So they made it very clear. And then there, Smotrich and Ben Gvir, that psychopath that was trolling all the flotilla crew while they're in the prison, that the psychopaths are basically saying they're gonna push them into Egypt, any surviving Palestinians. They're gonna make life hell for them, and they want to get rid of every last native Palestinian inhabitant. And we're okay with that in the West, largely, apparently. Well, not the people in the streets. 600,000 people came on the streets of London yesterday, largest Palestinian demo ever. That's more than all the big anti-war ones in recent years. I mean, so yeah, anyway, that's where that is,
This
folks.
has never happened before, to my knowledge, right? I mean, has there ever been like, I think back to like the Warsaw ghettos or, places where, ethnic cleansing had been happening. Like I'm struggling to come up with an example of a citizen group, a multinational citizen group to include veterans and, all kinds of people, professors, intellectuals, everyday people, that many boats, or trucks or anything. I don't think I've ever heard of a time when citizens, not to sound all globalist, but when global citizens banded together to try to bring relief and aid anywhere like this before. I mean, this really does seem unprecedented to me that is even something that's happening.
I mean, not just citizens, just for humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, the law of the sea is the law of the sea. It's international waters. You're allowed to sail, and you're allowed to bring humanitarian aid to a besieged area legally. That's protected under international law, as are all those boats. And so they've just basically steamrolled and ran roughshod over all that. Ruckus, any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm guessing because the way legalese works is all those rules go straight out the window if we're discussing a proscribed terrorist group. Just guessing, but I don't know.
Good point. That's one of the problems with this, is this proscription or whatever. They say, oh, Hamas did. Americans like having to give this caveat. What Hamas did is horrific, and I don't support. There's a terrible organization. Da, da, da. Nobody knows what Hamas actually is. And most Americans have no freaking clue that Hamas was funded by the Israelis and the Americans, and also by the Qataris at the insistence of Washington. Because Netanyahu's strategy was to defeat the PLO and to undermine them. They needed to create a counterbalance. So they created Hamas. They encouraged a religious-based liberation movement. And they said, we won't talk to the Palestinians until they have elections in Gaza. So they had elections in 2005 or whatever. And they didn't expect Hamas was going to win. And they won. And then Israel turned around and said, we're not talking to them anymore. And we're going to lock down Gaza and put it under siege after the elections. And then Israel wouldn't let them have another election after that. So they were using them. And what happened was, and it took 15 years for the Palestinian leadership in Gaza to flush out all the Israeli moles. They had everybody on the payroll. And it took 15 years to flush them out. 15 years. And unfortunately, it was bloody. It was brutal. So then Hamas was no longer in the control of Israel. And here we are. So what did they do? They probably created a casus belli with October 7th. And my understanding of the intelligence I've seen is that Israel knew about the plan, October 7th plan, but it wasn't supposed to happen that early, that they launched it ahead of schedule. And this is what caught Israel off balance. And they were really angry and pissed off and acted very irrationally as a result, invoking the Hannibal Directive, and just lost the plot. So Israel had a staged sort of plan, a response. They wanted this to happen, this genocide to happen. But the Palestinians' operation that Israel knew was going to come happened early, and it didn't happen in the way they expected. And they wanted revenge for that because they lost control. And that's my understanding of it. Maybe slightly different than what some people are putting out. But yeah, so there it is.
And here we are 2 years later, and we're still, trying to figure out what happened. Isn't that the common thread with every huge event that happens? It's like, event happens, for whatever reason, be it organic, be it stage managed, be it allowed to happen, be it a result of, crappy geopolitics. And then it's over to the internet sleuths. You know what I mean? It's like the narrative managers at this point are really riding the wave of internet sleuthing. It's like they can throw everything out there now. It's like all the conspiracy theories, everything, all the lies, all the contradictions. And that's exactly what we saw the moment it started to happen, the moment that the news started to break. Narrative management. And like, who screwed up the biggest right off the bat? Well, it was the IDF. It was Israel invoking the Hannibal Directive, for whatever reason, just annihilating everything in sight with their Apache helicopters and their tanks, to include their own people. And then to come out with the absurd, stories of beheaded babies and all this other stuff, just the ultimate, emotional manipulation that they could possibly impose upon the whole world, as they started this operation, which you can see the results of behind me. This place behind me actually looks better than some of the places we've seen in some of this footage, if you can believe that. There's might be some usable materials here. But we know they're going to bulldoze it, right? We know they're already going through and cleaning out the rubble and all this stuff. It's an amazing ethnic cleansing, just complete, real-time slash and burn happening to the entire land. And it's crazy, the narrative management, the gaslighting, the conspiracy candy dropping, and all this that we see across everything. Here we are 2 years later, still trying to figure out what happened on that day. So, good luck to everybody trying to figure stuff out. This is going to be our life moving forward if we don't fix this media and fix these stupid fucking politicians. Excuse me.
I mean, what do you guys think of this? Look at this. This was the official Netanyahu's X account puts this out the day of the Nobel, right before the Nobel Prize. It's basically saying Trump needs to win the Nobel Prize. I mean, you've got that. It's like it's the humiliation. I mean, do Americans realize the ritual humiliation that is at play here? And then what about this guy? What about this guy? I mean, look at this. Can you believe this? This is when it was announced. That's Netanyahu and his cabinet. That's him and his cabinet.
Yep.
Talk about bias. Talk about conflicts of interest. Look at these guys. A bunch of con artists. Or in Yiddish, shysters. Bring our resident expert in Yiddish colloquial terms, Basil Valentine's joining us right now. come in right at the right moment. I mean, look at these guys, Basil. Look at these
Well,
guys.
it shouldn't surprise anybody. That's the thing. The White House is very honest about the fact that it supports Israel unreservedly, unconditionally. The Zionist takeover of American government is no secret. It's just that people have started noticing it a bit more because we're in the midst of a genocide. That's the only thing that's different.
Noticing.
You've got to be careful with your noticing.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Don't notice. Noticing is.
So, I mean, I just wanted to pick up, Patrick, on something you said earlier in your opening monologue about, children in Gaza being able to return to what is a pile of rubble all over the place, left, right, and center. The place has just been reduced to rubble. It's absolutely disgraceful. And Israel, of course, are not letting journalists in still. The whole framing of the thing is utterly obscene in Western media. BBC saying that, Israel awaits the return of the hostages. This is the banner headline, Netanyahu triumphant, whatever. No mention of the fact he's a war criminal. No mention of the thousands of Palestinian hostages. In fact, they are referred to euphemistically as either prisoners or detainees. Even the children and young adults held without charge, often for months on end. Or people like Dr. Hassan Abu Safia, I think it is, who's been tortured for the last, year or something, Anyway, the children are returning to what was their homes, to the rubble that they are, I think you said, and now able to play with toys. Not so fast. They're finding that the demonic sadists have left booby-trapped toys and food cans. Yes, child goes to pick up a toy, starts playing around with it, it explodes. It's booby-trapped. And the same applies to tins of food. It's hard to imagine a greater depth of evil. But remember, anti-Semitism is the problem here in the UK.
Yes. Yeah. Be careful about the anti-Semitism. Yeah. So what do you think about? I'm calling him the Del Boy of diplomacy. I've coined it.
Well, Del Boy is a sort of rather engaging, humorous character. I don't think there's anything engaging or humorous about Witkoff at all.
That's true.
These people are scum.
But what do you think? If he's Del Boy, does that mean Kushner is Rodney?
Yes, it's quite a good.
It works, doesn't it?
That's right, and Netanyahu would be Boise. But I don't really like to humor or humanize these people to this extent.
No, you're right. You're right, and I take your point. I take your point that that's a little bit of an insult to Del Boy because there's nothing humorous or endearing about Steve Witkoff. He's just a scam artist, con man.
These people are mass murderers.
Grifter.
Del Boy was a sort of entertaining comedy character. These people completely different category.
Yeah, if we're gonna put them in movie metaphors, I might offer up Hellraiser, perhaps Cenobites,
right.
Demons of pain and suffering, perhaps.
That's right. Yeah,
I was thinking a mafia movie where like the character is like nobody really likes him, but he's in the mob just because of like a family, favor. Somebody down the line. It was like I owe his dad a favor. He saved my life one time, so he's got to be in the club. That's what Witkoff feels like to me.
They are gangsters. That's the point. They are gangsters. They might wear suits and parade around in a diplomatic context or something, but they're gangsters. They've been threatening the ICC judges and their families. And of course, what about that threat made by Netanyahu on one of his trips to the White House, where incidentally, he and that piglet creature, wife of his, take suitcases full of dirty laundry. Yes, actual physically dirty clothes for the White House staff to launder. I mean, it sounds extraordinary.
It's true. It's true. It's a report. It's been printed and confirmed.
But I think that gold-plated pager was a threat. It's saying, look, we can reach you too, Donald. Here you are. Yours is gold-plated. There you go. exactly. But it's as much as to say, don't think you're out of our reach. If we can put exploding devices in the faces of Lebanese children, we can certainly reach you, Mr. President, and we did with one of your forebears, John F. Kennedy. So, I mean, they're gangsters through and through. They achieve their ends through violence. Simple as that. Sometimes attempt bribery to start with. If that doesn't work, move to blackmail. And if that doesn't work, ultra violence is, classic gangster playbook.
Look at this, Basil. What are your thoughts on this? Was posted on Netanyahu's official X account on Friday before the Nobel Prize was read out. This AI generated image. What do we expect? More decorum from people in official positions, or it's kind of ridiculous?
I think the word is chutzpah, isn't it?
Chutzpah.
But I mean that sadistic heading, peace through strength. No, what you actually mean is bombing innocent civilians to smithereens. That isn't peace. It's ultra violence, and that's what gets me. It's this satanic inversion of the meaning of words.
Yeah, it's just so gaudy and lowbrow. It's so lowbrow.
It's that too. Yeah. I mean,
Donald Trump, Elon Musk, all these guys have proven something. I hope the working class and middle classes or chattering classes are working out, is that no matter how much money you have, you cannot buy class. And these people have no class at all.
You're absolutely right.
You can't buy class.
It's like troll politics. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Pat, but it's like I've been watching the White House feed this week also, particularly their IG account, which I think probably just reposts some of the same stuff on their X, whatnot. But it's like meme warfare. They're straight up like using the White House social media feed to do, meme games, basically political memes. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, talk about not having any class. And don't get me wrong, I love meme warfare. Meme warfare is one of my games. I like it. But to see it coming from the administration while all this clownish and evil stuff is going on, like clownish narratives and evil deeds, evil doings, globalism, technocracy, genocide, war. Those are the things that seem to be being exported and happening internally, almost in a sense. And it's kind of frightening to see so many official things being said over social media.
Yes,
in ways that we already had an internet, White House. So Donald Trump, we already had an internet where meme warfare has been here since before you arrived, believe it or not. Conservatives and independents were always better at it than progressives and liberals, but we've never seen an administration totally lean into the internet culture the way that the Trump administration has. We saw the left trying to do that during Biden, and it was just it fell flat. It fell very flat. They were outclassed by people on X and Twitter and, veterans of meme warfare. But now you look at the White House feed in particular, and it's jokes. We got jokes, folks. We got jokes coming out of the White House for you. It's really
but the joke's on them, Hesher.
Yeah.
The joke, because the memes only work against when you're punching up. And the Trump administration, they got support because they said they were going to punch up and they wouldn't punch down once they get into power. And what have they done when they get into power? They're punching down, and now they're looking stupid. And Stephen Miller and all these guys are looking like goofballs. Stephen Miller is giving these sort of Hitler-esque speeches at Charlie Kirk's gaudy memorial service, and it's just like, we'll fight you on the beaches. We'll fight, no, enough of this. He's swearing, using profanity at the podium, and he's supposed to be Trump's advisor. Nobody voted for Stephen Miller. It's a complete depraved kook.
No, that's right. Nobody voted for Steve Witkoff or Jared Kushner either,
Yeah.
But it is this bizarre concoction, this confluence of sort of show business comedy and uniquely dark events that's really excruciating and very, very jarring for most people, ordinary people. There's absolutely no dignity, no grace, no poise, no decorum, no manners, no class, no culture, nothing.
No, none of that. None of that. They're not even. They can't even articulate any of these foreign policy theaters, and that's the kind of thing that I'm surprised that I'm hoping that they got one right, but they're basically 0 for 5 or 0 for 4 at the moment, and you're dealing with a bunch of idiots. And
Lavrov said it's very difficult to deal with an administration that don't know the difference between Austria and Australia.
They really don't. Donald Trump couldn't. He could not.
He wouldn't be able to tell you.
He couldn't find the Donbass on a map unless it was labeled. And he'd probably work his way over there eventually, but he doesn't know anything. I mean,
and he was asked in the week at a White House Oval Office. I mean, at least he does have reporters in the Oval Office, as opposed to Biden, who sort of hid away and never spoke to anybody for months on end because he was incapable. But nevertheless, what comes out of his mouth? He was asked if he was considering suspending habeas corpus. He said, "I don't know who that guy is," or something. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, like who's Posse Comitatus? Who's that? I don't know him. Posse Comitatus.
It's a gang from Venezuela, Patrick.
It's a posse.
That's right.
It's from definitely sounds like they're from south of the border. Comitatus. Yeah, must be Mexico, something maybe. I had an argument with somebody on X. They said, "Oh, it's not a violation of Posse Comitatus if they're deployed in an emergency." Talk about circular logic. I mean, that's the kind of debates I'm having with people, and I'm like, "What emergency?" Well, the fentanyl, right?
Fentanyl, human trafficking,
crime, Chicago. There's murders in Chicago. Really? When did that start happening? Is that a new thing? Is that new?
I don't know.
Just start ticking over now.
Yeah, back in the 80s when they outlawed guns there, maybe they outlawed people's ability to protect themselves. I don't know. They crashed the economy. They deindustrialized it. I mean, we could go on and on.
And then that Venezuela is a narco state. Are you freaking kidding me? Venezuela? No. No, the biggest drug trafficking organizations in our hemisphere are the CIA and the DEA. The cartels couldn't do anything without them.
Right.
Anything. So and I'm talking from just Gary Webb's work right up to the present day. They've just gone more official now. They have corporate companies, they have shell companies, but it's all done with absolute wink and a nod. And the CIA is making tons of cash off this stuff, as are ex-agents, retired DEA agents who are back into the game on some level. This is a huge corporate network. Half of it's legitimate now. It's not like Johnny Depp and Blow, where they're like hiring Cessnas or Barry Seal. They've gone legit. The other big transporter of drugs, folks, Class A drugs, is the military. This is another big trafficker on military transport. Those of you who understand this issue know what I'm talking about. So what the hell is Trump? Is it blowing up some speedboats with Reaper drones and calling in airstrikes? And then, oh no, they're sending drugs to harm Americans. Are you freaking kidding me? These people have lost their minds. They're trying to build up a case for a war against Venezuela because
they've got the Nobel laureates to help them, haven't they? She actually called for Israel to invade Venezuela. Believe it or not.
Really, this one,
yes,
that one,
yes,
that one. CIA asset, Maria Corina Machado. CIA asset. Why do we say that? Well, she founded a National Endowment for Democracy funded NGO that's trying to take control of Venezuela's elections. If it was Soros, everybody on the right would be screaming. But it's Ned. Well, isn't that the thing that Elon and Doge went to cut the funding of? USAID and NED and no. Well, yeah, Trump needs them for this op, and that's their girl right there. What do you have to say about that, MAGA? Anybody? Or Netanyahu? Class?
Well, she dedicated the Nobel Prize to Trump. You know, it's just it's all a circus of.
Did she?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's all a circus of horrors. The only way to describe it, you know.
I didn't know that. That's worse, actually.
She immediately dedicated it to him.
Dedicated. It should have been you, Donald.
That's right.
Should have been you. I don't deserve this award. It really should have gone to the Donald. What are we going to do with these people?
I don't know, man. It seems like we've got, especially in America, we've got, laws and, a constitution and stuff like that could be applied to these sort of things. But this administration is probably the apex example of why the swamp will never be drained, why the NGOs will never be shut down, why the globalism will continue, why the technocracy will continue, and why the war will continue. I mean, if this isn't the administration that shows us that, I don't know which is. And are they not summarily like drone bombing Venezuelan fentanyl boats? Summarily, is that not already sort of
are they fentanyl boats? How do we know they're fentanyl boats?
Yeah, we don't know this.
How do we?
I was just reading an article, I believe it was in the NY Post, speaking to a lady who insists one of the people who was bombed off the planet in one of those drone strikes was simply her husband, a fisherman on a fisherman boat. So there you go. Drugs, obviously.
Well, it gave Marco Rubio a little testosterone rush, maybe some endorphins rush. Who knows? Little Marco Rubio.
I'm not sure if it was you, Patrick, or it might have been somebody like Ron Paul or in his sphere mentioning the fact that statistically speaking, anytime that they do seize these boats and then they go for the drugs, they're like, oh crap, I guess there was no drugs. I mean, and the statistics are alarmingly high, and something like 1 out of 10 of the boats that are seized actually have drugs on them. And then when you apply that to the fact we're not even seizing the boats, we're just bombing them, I guess maybe by now there's a slight chance that at least one of those boats had a small amount of potentially, life-killing substances on them, but we don't know because, again, it was bombed. So there's no evidence.
Speaking of libertarians, Javier Milei, in Elon Musk's best buddy, he, by the way, he just held a rock concert for himself where he was singing. He just got a bailout from the United States, or commitment for something like 20 billion or something. So everyone was celebrating that this was a great success when he was elected. And I was always like skeptical. I said, but he hasn't done anything yet. Because that's what they did with Obama. They celebrated because he got elected before he did anything. And of course, it was a disaster. And then Milei in Argentina, really the economy is just perpetually on the rim of the toilet bowl. And then he comes in with and Musk is backing him, and the chainsaw at CPAC. And I thought, this is not going to end well. And then Milei did his own meme coin and then rugged it, and a bunch of people lost money. They had an investigation against him. I just was reminded of this because his comment down here by Chanel, Trump made $5 billion on his stable coins. That is all he cares about. I don't know how much Trump made on the Trump coin scam and the Melania coin, but no president should be allowed to do that in any country while they're president. It just should not be allowed. And where were the Democrats on this? Probably because they were probably on the pump and dump. I don't know, but so Milei, a total failure, as we predicted. It was a scam. His name is funny. It's short for Milikowski. There's another guy with the same last name, the Prime Minister of Israel, Ben Zion Milikowski, aka Netanyahu, another stage name. But so Milei, Musk, one of Elon's best buddies. How much did Elon make on the rug pull in Argentina? I wonder. Xiomile Doge asset stripping. Yeah, that's basically it.
In related news, did you guys see the world's worst cryptocurrency crash happened like 48 hours ago? And there are some wild speculations running around that Trump or friends of Trump had something to do with it, knew ahead of time. There was a brand new wallet that was created literally 30 minutes before his tariff tweet that sent the stock markets barreling. But yeah, there's lots of people saying that, yeah, insiders knew. They created fresh wallets within 24 hours, up to, I mean, trading, adding, doubling down on their shorts up to like a minute before the tweet was posted, and everything wrecked. And the exchanges went down. Normal people completely washed out, lost everything that they owned. They couldn't even get onto the exchanges to trade, to buy, to sell. But somebody made a lot of money.
Bitcoin wasn't affected, though. It was all the other coins, right?
No, Bitcoin took a hit too, Patrick, but not nearly as bad as all the rest. Okay. It was Bitcoin and Ether and all of them, but Bitcoin and Ether, of course, were the smaller dips. What does that tell you, right?
Well, here, Milei was put into office by oligarchs like Eduardo Elstein. As always, check that early life section, the early life section on Wikipedia. Yeah, the crypto scams everywhere. They're all at it. I mean, I'm sure the Israelis are deep in these things as well. I'm sure. But
what happened to Bankman-Fried? You know, is he in jail? That's all gone very quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, he did well. I mean, he's doing interviews with people, I think, or I don't know.
Why is he not in jail?
His life is. I think he's in jail, but maybe he did some prison interviews. When he gets out, that guy's going to be minted. I mean, he's just going to be like, have one of those polyamorous cults somewhere in maybe Paraguay or something. Maybe Basil, you could be his.
Sounds like a plan, yeah.
Maybe the Raelian movement or something. Like he might start his own, kind of counterculture island or something like that. Maybe they need help with public relations. Pay in crypto.
Isn't it ironic that President Trump brags so much about not taking a paycheck? It's like, I don't need your paycheck. I've got crypto shit coins.
Yeah, just say, I don't need your 400. Well, how much is the presidential salary? 450,000.
Like 400,000. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Trump said, I don't need that. I just made $5 billion on a rug pull.
Yeah, that's chump change. Watch me hold my beer.
Yeah, this is it. Here, look, Pat Rivers, Benjamin Milikowski, Ben Nitai. He changed his name in America when he was at MIT to Nitai, then to Netanyahu. So I think Netanyahu was the name that his father adopted, if I'm not mistaken. His dad was a big wig in the foundation of Israel. Originally Milikowski from Poland. Ben Zion Milikowski, then, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't sound very Middle Eastern, Milikowski. That's just me. Doesn't sound that Sephardic. It's definitely not Mizrahi. What is it then? Don't know. So you guys, speaking of AI, did any of you see the Dennis Prager vid lying on his back in the hospital out of the coffin to say Megyn Kelly and Charlie are really pro-Israel? This is funny what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of noticing going on, and
a lot of noticing going on, and
the noticing is bubbling over the brim. That's the problem,
and a lot of it is being pumped into AI, created video vignettes, and this is going to be very interesting moving forward. How is all this stuff going to pan out legally? You've got people prompting AI to make videos of beloved Star Wars characters and things that are intellectual property, and politicians, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Oh, wait, the politicians are doing it too. We already showed the Nobel Prize AI, and on that same White House feed, you'll find a whole bunch of AI generated videos and images that they put out in sort of that same fashion. So it's like, is this going to be a giant rug pull, a giant intellectual and creative rug pull that's going to happen eventually? Hell yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people are going to get sued. A bunch of new regulations and rules are going to have to come in. The cost of the AI apps that all are, largely free to a lot of people right now will go up, and businesses will depend on them. So something is building here, and we're in a very sort of Wild West phase of it with regard to the AI stuff.
Yeah, they're sampling people's voices and they're automatically creating YouTube videos. There's another guy put out a video from LA. I forgot his name, but there's a proliferation of some of these gurus, spiritual gurus, some of whom have passed away years ago, and they've sampled their voices and they're putting out fake text scripts. And he said, that's not that guy. I read the lectures of that guy. That's not that guy. He never said any of this stuff, but they're using his image, and it's all kind of false. But just quickly, Suro Lorca reposted the stream. I see some people reposting the stream. Thank you so much. And everybody, please repost the stream. This is how we're going to promulgate and then bypass the throttling that our friends at YouTube are putting on us. So yeah, I'll highlight those comments. Anybody reposting the stream, get out there and do that. And this is Obama was groundbreaking in that he was the first POTUS with a first husband, quote unquote. I mean, we chuckle and we laugh, but look, let me just say, my position on this. There's a lot of people that are talk about fake images. They put out a whole range of fake Michelle Obama images to make it look like a man. And you can see the original clearly doesn't look anything like the Photoshop version. And then those go and then get built into graphic memes with multiple images, and then those promulgate on Telegram and stuff. Listen, from my point of view, Michelle Obama is definitely a woman. Okay, it has all of feminine attributes, but there's also a lot of rumors about Barack being a little bit, let's just say, multifaceted, and the fake rumors of Michelle being a man, it covers up the real scandal, and the real scandal is that Barack. Anyway, I'll just.
I saw a clip of her. They're doing a new podcast, and they're all getting very excited about that. And she was saying how difficult it is for them to go out in public anywhere because they're always the topic of conversation at the next table. Yeah. Everybody's so fascinated. Oh, look, it's Michelle and Barack. My goodness,
Well,
how fascinating. But what I was going to say is her voice is that of a woman, and it's difficult, long term.
She's a big woman. She's a big woman,
but the voice was definitely that of a woman, and that's a hard one to cover up. That can't be changed with surgery or training very easily at all.
Definitely not. And also on top of that, there's the Michael Jackson implications are IVF with the kids.
Oh yeah, that's
standard fare in Hollywood, by the way.
Yeah. And the donor was apparently his good friend, the star of the film version of the much lauded musical Olivier, Mark Lester. Yeah.
No.
The cherubic boy who held the bowl in front of Harry Seacombe and asked for more.
Oliver Twist.
Oliver, shortened to Oliver for the musical.
Oliver. Well,
really Mark Lester is apparently the father. Yeah. It's as good as anything.
I'm going to confirm that with my sources. I know.
You can run with that.
Yeah, I can run with that. Yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you on that. I actually have very close to the Michael Jackson camp.
Right.
Confirm that or deny, or neither confirm nor deny, which is more interesting. Yeah. So that's the thing on the Michelle. You guys just and it's so funny that someone says, well, but Joan Rivers said, and I'm like, Joan Rivers.
That's right.
That's your credible authority, Joan Rivers. What state was she in when she said that? Was that between the tranquilizers and the booze and whatever? I mean, she wasn't exactly stable, right? and her in her advanced years.
Well,
I mean,
the tinfoil hat theory is that you really have to like latch on to some things that you can't prove. Like, but the tinfoil hat theory there is that because she said that, she was taken out by her doctor, or she was,
right.
Michael Jackson, something like that. Like, you have to go through all the hamster wheels
That's
of
a circular. That's a
yes.
circular, self-promulgating thing. That's like when Alex Jones would say every 2 weeks that the World War III was sort of saying World War III is coming, and so the world was going to go into Armageddon roughly every 2 weeks or a month, and then he would say, "Well, it's because we got the word out that it stopped." So you're always going to be right at the end of the day, and that's the circular sort of.
Which is what David Icke eloquently stated about Alex recently, in I don't remember what event it was a couple weeks back, but David Icke kind of laid that out, that sort of media personality, heads I win, tails you lose style that Alex has.
I mean, you can only sort of play that card so much, and then if you're constantly playing it for like 10 straight years, it becomes a kind of self-promulgating system, and your audience gets hooked on that. There's a dopamine rush, and then there's the fear, the dopamine, the fear, and then the sort of another dopamine rush when it doesn't happen, and then another dopamine rush when you say it didn't happen because we blew the whistle. So it's a fantastic kind of system.
It's brilliant marketing. It's narrative driven marketing. And if you watch any of the like, I was talking with our friend Corey Drayton about this recently, shout out to Wandering Wolf. But if you watch like a modern documentary, like there's all these 3 and 4 part series on the streaming services, there's like a sine wave of building tension and then releasing tension and then building tension. Like, that has to happen multiple times throughout the production, or people won't be interested in it. And I think we're kind of being, just by intake, and it's the same with, the most popular podcasts that you see, the highly, slickly produced ones. There's a lot of planning that goes into those, and there's a lot of forethought into that build of tension, release of tension, build of tension, and you drag the viewer along with that, and they get emotionally involved in, the more of those arcs they go through in that sine wave, the more involved they are in the narrative, and never mind the context. Like, let's just, in any context that doesn't fit, there's a reason why it doesn't fit. It's cult like almost, it's very echo chambery and cultish, but it's not necessarily by design that way. That's how they make money at it. That's how you have 10 million people listening to you every day.
Yeah,
it's much like a sort of science thriller blockbuster. Do you know what I mean? Endless highs and lows, outbursts of violence, then a quieter period of reflection and narrative building, then another sudden shock, another burst of extreme violence, and so it goes on. And as you say, people get hooked on it. They like the adrenaline. I used to tune into Alex for the thrill of it, I suppose, back in the day. The fact that it was you didn't know what was going to happen next, and the drama, and of course his hilarious ranting. I don't know if he still does that, but he used to go on these rants, which were, just more comic than anything else.
Yeah.
Well, he does, Basil, except now he likes to rant at people that no longer work for InfoWars. Lots of drama in that space right now. As far as Alex, y'all, you want my opinion? I'm just going to be like, at this stage, it's like the broken clock is right twice a day. He's all over the place. I don't see any guidance or direction from that fool. I think he's pretty much lost relevance where it counts, because the game has changed. I mean, like, he said he was part of the implementation of the foundation of this new media that has now been completely completely, flipped on its head ever since Elon and Trump and the "you are the media" thing. And that's where we're at right now. And, I keep bringing this up, but I think Alex was an integral part in bringing certain people to that kind of thing, and then you had like the Tucker Carlsons, and then to a degree Candace Owens and whatnot, all these, the changing of the guard. And now who needs Alex Jones anymore, right? I think he's basically irrelevant, and he's just like doing everything he can to stay like, hey, look at me, he's Donkey in Shrek. That's Alex Jones right now.
It's true. Credit where credit's due. And I do give credit to Alex. I thought he was a fantastic filmmaker. He made some very impactful, incredible viral films. He was the first viral documentary filmmaker, really. And he educated a lot of people on things like false flags and a lot of the stuff, USS Liberty, all of that was in Terror Storm. Very effective films. Endgame, another great film. And I thought that, to me, Alex was at his peak then in terms of really using his talent. And he had a great team, worked with some great filmmakers as well. And then, of course, he became more and more political after that, and more partisan. And then with hitching a ride on the Trump train, I think it's a pragmatic move that people make for business reasons and survival reasons. And, if you're under pressure of cancellation or whatever, and people are suing you and whatnot, maybe you can get some protection politically by aligning yourself with whoever's in power. That's always an option. But now he's the whole thing with Charlie Kirk. It's like the radical left. Of course, Israel's got nothing to do with it, kind of thing. And that reminds me of this comment, which I highlighted here: MAGA, fascism at home, MEGA abroad. MEGA, make Israel great again abroad.
Yes, exactly.
Inbreds. So the MAGA inbreds, I guess, sort of. I think that's right. I think so. I think that's what he meant. But yeah, I mean, it's just the level of used car salesmanship it's so mainstream politics is just, it's so lowbrow right now. It really is. I mean, even the people you wouldn't think were going to drop down. I mean, it's like you have to drop down now. You can't operate at a high level intellectually. It's not good for your career. That's kind of like where we're at. We're heading down that spiral, aren't we? What was it? President Camacho. Idiocracy.
Someone made a comment earlier in the stream. I don't have the timestamp on it, so I'm sorry I can't shout it out. Maybe you'll see it when you scroll. But they, to paraphrase, said these people in power, they're not worried about intellectuals talking in long format. What they're really concerned about is a comedian, a popular comedian coming up with a quick quip or something like that, and Dave Smith's rise into the conversation, the geopolitical conversation, who to thunk it, right, is a perfect example of that. But I thought that was an interesting comment, because we put so much time into the factual and the intellectual and the wargaming and all that stuff here. And essentially, I think what that commenter said is correct. Like, they could care less how many tens of thousands of hours the four of us spend, informing ourselves on this stuff and talking about it and talking to other people about it and refining our worldview. They could care less, but Dave Smith come along and say something on Joe Rogan that turns, a large group of young budding conservatives and independents into people that will never trust anything coming out of Israel or maybe even America again. That's a problem.
Yeah, Dave Smith, again, it's like, if you look at the spectrum. So Joe Rogan, ex-mainstream comedian. Dave Smith, mainstream comedian. Who else? Jon Stewart, mainstream comedian. Steve Colbert, mainstream comedian. There's a whole bunch of other people. I mean, you can't be in America, they only allow you to be a political commentator and get massively platformed if you're a comedian. If you're a serious analyst, forget it. You get throttled, you get beaten down on YouTube. But if you're a comedian, they have no problem platforming those people, because they know that the certain number of people in the country, whatever, a certain number will resonate and listen, but many won't take them seriously. You're not a serious threat. And, you know, they're not doing deep dive investigations on other things. So it's like if they platform somebody who's a serious journalist, that means that all of their work from the past will get elevated as well. And that's a threat. But if you're just someone who doesn't write anything down, you just got hot takes on stuff, yeah, you get all day long. You're not a threat. You might alter the conversation a little bit. And unfortunately, we in terms of the analytics, you know, and if you're on ad impressions, you have to do video now. So the Substack is a little bit of a little bit of an oasis of intellectual material, written material, good written analysis on Substack. But overall, they've killed all the CPM ad business, and Google Ads has monopolized it and then shut everybody out and destroyed all the alt media. That was to kill web pages and websites, and they did that. And so they're forcing everyone onto video platforms. The problem is nothing's written down. You can have hot takes all day long, and yeah, it's great. But what really does damage is investigative articles and work. I mean, that does damage. That's why I like the Gray Zone. I totally love and support what they're doing, because, you know, we to some other degree we do that, as well as the UK column does some of that as well, and other alt media outlets that do written work and investigations. Gray Zone's fantastic work they've done. They've broken so many good stories. I've lost count in the last 2 years, but it's so necessary, though. It's so needed, because that's what that's what threatens the establishment, is the written word, because it's there etched in stone forever, and it can bring down programs, governments, expose corruption, expose clandestine activity, you know, really document hypocrisy and high crimes of state. Comedians popping off with hot takes at CPAC is, I mean, yeah, it sort of moves the dial a little bit, but is it, how much is it really threatening the power structure? Debatable.
Yeah, and how fresh is their content? You know, it's like some of the things that are being said now that people are like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that," are things, you know, that were said on this program and others like it, you know, a decade ago.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know, here we are. It's like it's
The
almost like
curve's
a little
slow.
too late.
The first thing I tweeted on March 17th, the day of lockdowns, 2020, I said, this is going to absolutely F up the economy. It's gonna put us devalue the currency. We didn't vote for this. It's going to be a disaster. That's the first thing I tweeted out on March 17th, because that's the horror I saw coming, because that to me was a real structural disaster coming there economically, because when you get the economic problems, all the other problems come with it. So, but apparently that's just beside the anti-vax positions and all the rest of it, anti-lockdown positions. But I don't know how many times we have to like repeat this, but it took Joe Rogan like a good year and a half. I mean, he was testing guests for COVID before they came in the studio. I mean, was he not?
Oh, he was. He definitely was.
So, like, you know.
And Pat, you and I talked about this offline, but not that long ago, Woody Harrelson was on Joe Rogan's show, and Woody Harrelson laid the law down on the scamdemic. It was glorious to watch Joe sit there and have to, you know, absorb Woody talking, you know, and Woody had clearly watched episodes of Sunday Wire and or Alex Zech's The End of COVID. I mean, he knew the sources, he knew, you know, which doctors to reference, he knew a lot of, you know, it was great. I really appreciated what he said on that show, and whatever he's doing, I hope he's sharing it around with his other, you know, high tootin' friends in Hollywood and stuff, because we don't need this to happen again. And it's not going to go the same if they try to do it again. There's so many people are red pilled on it now. It's
Well, I'll have to tell you, I flew into the U.S. and I had to fill out a contact tracing form.
Jeez. Well, we
Yeah.
still, Ruckus and I and Spore were in the store recently. We still see people wearing masks around in the grocery stores. Just like, what are you doing, weirdo?
They wanted the phone numbers and addresses at every place you're staying. And they said it
Yep.
was the CDC regulation. So this was with JetBlue, but I assume this is with, I don't know if anybody can do a search, if there's all the airlines requiring contact tracing information. And that's just started this last month.
Really? Okay. For international flyers?
Coming into the U.S.
Okay.
and U.S. citizens.
Well, that
So-
sounds like a pain point to me, being a marketing guy. It sounds like that's a giant pain in the butt to have to fill out those contact trace. Wouldn't it be so much easier, sir, if you had the digital ID? We could just get you in and out of here in a jiffy. Wouldn't even be a problem, Patrick. You don't have to worry about it.
The United States CDC under RFK Jr., is he in charge of it? I'm told, requires airlines to collect contact information from passengers on flights to the United States for contact tracing purposes. Through the specific requirements can vary from subject to change. Requirements include providing address and phone number of all the places you're staying during your time in the U.S. That includes U.S. citizens. And so forth. And then they want your mobile number so that they can ping you probably on movement data, right? So Trump, Mr. Warp Speed. Does anybody know about this? I mean, I've mentioned it on shows, but Donald, health freedom, Maha, make America healthy again, and get your contact tracing data. Are they thinking about relaunching COVID? Because if I was going to do the scam, I would want to do it with a president with a good track record of falling for it. So Trump would be my guy. I love big pharma, beautiful pharmaceutical company, very impressive companies. Moderna, and Albert Bourla from Pfizer is a great company, great stock market evaluation. We've all got shares. Is that going to happen again under Trump? He's a soft touch. Let's admit it. Donald Trump is a soft touch on this stuff. It doesn't take much. Fauci was dragging Trump around. Trump was terrified of Fauci. It wasn't until like a year in or something, or practically toward the end, that he was giving Fauci bad looks.
Well, it's one that's very easy to set alarm among the public on that topic, to accuse a president or prime minister of being irresponsible if they don't go for maximum restrictions on liberty and sort of the most alarmist response possible or imaginable. That can be framed as being reckless or irresponsible very easily. Speaking of the digital IDs, of course, they're determined to ram it through here in Britain, but they're going to find themselves driving up against a brick wall. 3 million people have signed the petition, the parliamentary petition, saying they won't have it. And the first of what will probably be many large demonstrations is planned for London next Saturday, October the 18th. Mass demonstration and march in central London against digital ID. And it brings together an extraordinary political coalition, because on the one hand, you've got reform and ultra reform people like Richard Tice. Then you've got the Liberal Democrats in the middle, and you've got the old left, the likes of Jeremy Corbyn, the Workers' Party, your party, and I think the Green Party, all diametrically opposed to it. So the only groups that you've got that are in favour of it are globalist conservatives and authoritarian, of course, Labour MPs, who are, I mean, the Starmeroids, the Dalek-brained, we will do whatever we are told to do. You will do whatever you are told to do. And behind it, of course, is the whole Tony Blair, Larry Ellison axis. Word on the street is that Blair's son, Ewan Blair, has a startup which is in line to get the contract. I don't know.
Not true.
exactly, but
Not true. Yeah.
that resurfaced again though this week. I know that was
Yes.
denied, and then it resurfaced again.
But
So-
resurfaced, someone just reposted it. But no, I looked into that, and he's not working on that. Ewan Blair, his son, is in a different end. I think it's EdTech, if I'm not mistaken. But that's not to say that it is anything shady with the Blair family. I'm sure it is shady.
I mean, if you wanted two politicians to push a policy, the two you would pick if that you wanted the whole thing to be as unpopular as possible are Keir Starmer and Tony Blair. They're both absolutely despised by huge swathes of the British population. And as a result, I mean, when you factor in that this is an awful policy from start to finish, initially it was supposedly to stop the boats, the illegal immigration across.
Oh, the boats, yeah. The boats. Oh, Basil seems to be at loss for words. What about the boats, Basil? You said first you're talking about the boats, and then that's it. You just froze. It was the
Okay,
boats.
sorry, yeah, I lost everybody. But now they're saying you're going to have to use it to access public services, possibly to buy a pint of beer in a pub, to go to the supermarket, or the whole conspiracy theorist gamut.
Look at the comment right there, guys.
Yeah.
Right there. They're saying her doctor, Pat Rivers, a doctor, said COVID is mutated. Spoke with my doctor Friday. She said no flu, but COVID. She's just had to hospitalize a patient for what? For the flu and what? How do they know it's COVID? Oh, the PCR test is back. Or is that where we're heading? You're gonna do that one again? So there's no
the
COVID.
season.
Let's do
I'm gonna have to
the
bow out
time
on the
warp
next pandemic.
again.
I'm gonna have to bow out on the next pandemic. I don't think I can do this again. I'm gonna go to a beach.
I'm gonna
and
pull in Africa and just not participate. Let's just do in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
If not, if we have to, we'll probably end up going to Africa. The Africans have got this sussed so well.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
Woody Harrelson is on the ball. Woody is an absolute G. Absolute G. One of the only top G's in Hollywood, probably.
Yep.
Yes, and gosh, I don't know where to start.
And Trump just got a booster too, allegedly.
He got a booster. I mean, Trump loves injections, vaccines. He said he's been taking statins for like 30 years or something. And I'm like,
that explains a lot.
Do a little reading on that, Donald. Talk to Mercola. That's RFK's buddy, Dr. Mercola. He'll tell you about statins.
Mm-hmm.
Not good for the brain. You might have memory loss, dementia. Yeah.
Some say that it is a factor in the Alzheimer epidemic. Just saying.
Yeah, and eating McDonald's hot dogs and pizza, generally not good. I mean, yes, Donald doesn't drink alcohol. He says he's never drank, and so that's always a good thing. It's good to know that the politician isn't drunk, or like I won't mention any names, but other politicians, including ones that ran against Donald. It's good to know, but if you're eating McDonald's at the age of 78 or whatever and woofing down pizza and hot dogs, that's not good either. You could have some insulin resistance issues, not good. You guys, I'm going to say something controversial here. I think Donald Trump should take up drinking. I think it would be good for him. He needs a drink. He should get rat arsed. He is too high strung, and he's completely he's off his head. He's sober, but he's off his head. He if anyone I would recommend take up drinking, I would say Donald Trump take up drinking for our sake. Do it for the world. Do it for the world. Is that a controversial position, guys? What do you
Not
think?
at all.
Weigh in the comments, please. If you think Donald Trump should take up drinking, please.
I mean,
It
MAGA
would have been
was
far more controversial if you suggested he got high, Patrick.
I'll take that bullet. Donald Trump, you should smoke a joint. Jeez, man.
I was going to say that. Yeah, definitely. You know.
Yeah, but see what people are saying. No, you should start smoking weed. Yeah,
There they
figures you
come.
guys would say that. Figures you guys would say that. He's already got psychosis issues. He doesn't even want to. Don't exacerbate that with weed. Come on, guys. I'm talking about a double scotch. You know, knock back a couple of those, like George W. Bush, tranquilizers and scotch. I mean,
There you go.
how you stay
That's
on
right.
the level. If you're in the Oval Office, that's how you keep it even.
Yeah, you got to
know what I
balance
mean?
these things.
Keep it on an even keel. Trump is addicted to money. That's yeah, you got that right. I don't even think money anymore. He just wants to be loved by the public. It's not working. He doesn't know what to do. A joint and a scotch. Is that what they said? A joint and a scotch. There we go. That's the she's meeting me halfway, Lil Willow.
Yeah.
Meeting us halfway.
I think that's a classy suggestion.
Oh, here we go. We're being tagged in social media. This is Ayantu says N95s are good for one thing, and wearing a mask for 1 hour while I'm at the grocery store is not worse for me than getting a cold and having to turn into bronchitis. Well, you know, do you think the N95's protecting you from getting a cold? Well, it's not getting into. You need to study terrain theory. Terrain theory. Go check out Alex Zek and Dr. Sam Bailey.
Yeah, read Dissolving Illusions. I actually put a comment in, and I'm sorry, Pat, for some reason when I comment, I come up as you since I'm in your system here today. So the comments you see from 21 Wire are mine this afternoon. But I did author a comment on that, and the system told me that it wouldn't let my comment through. So
What?
Yeah.
Which platform is that?
I think it was YouTube that came back with that kicked back on my comment there, but I made a comment about
what was it that was so bad that you put?
Well, I made a comment about N95 masks and that, 9 out of 10 times, like, I'm not trying to slam anybody whose doctors actually recommended that they do that. If you have a good medical reason to do that and you're using N95s properly, that's fine. I'm not trying to clown on you, but for people that just see on CNN or something that there's a new variant, or your doctor tells you there's a new variant and you need a PCR test, like, and they don't talk to you about proper use of N95 masks and what their capabilities are as far as protecting the wearer, you're kind of potentially missing part of the information that is, because I see so many people with these things hanging off their rearview mirrors, pulling them out of their back pockets, hanging them below their nose on their chin, reusing the same one over and over and over. I'm sorry, but if you sneeze or blow your nose or drop anything on one of those masks or stick it in your pocket, it's garbage. It's no longer serving its intended purpose. And its intended purpose, generally speaking, is not to protect you from getting a virus.
Well, we're not going to relitigate. At least we shouldn't, but we
shouldn't have to.
We might have to. So back to Trump. He's a dry drunk. They're the worst. Have you ever heard that term, dry drunk, before, you guys? You know that term?
Yeah, it's like someone that used to drink but doesn't drink anymore and still have alcoholic tendencies in their personality.
Yeah, and Blub says, don't trust the people who don't drink. I've heard this. A lot of alcoholics believe this and stand by it. Especially
the only
after
part of the story
drinks.
I don't believe is that he never tried it.
Don't trust the people who don't drink. So, yeah, I mean, Trump wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize for PCR. Not quite.
Didn't someone already do that?
Take credit for that, actually. Yeah. Wear a mask if you want, or wear a bag over your head, says Julia MR.
Just don't tell me I have to wear one. Exactly.
There you go. That keeps it nice and simple for everybody.
I've got to go, gentlemen. Sorry, I've got to get ready for tomorrow's show, which is me at YouTube and X. Ascending order on unprecedented TV. Tomorrow, I'm joined by Dr. Rehiana Ali, who is one of the physicians in the crosshairs of the Israel lobby because they don't like her anti-genocide tweets. So she's been dragged before the General Medical Council and all sorts. She's a consultant neurologist, and she hasn't been able to practice in recent months because of her wrong think with respect to genocide. So she's joining me at 1:30. We'll be picking over the latest in confected anti-Semitism hysteria in the UK. I saw a BBC report complaining that at yesterday's 600,000 strong march for Palestine, people were saying free Palestine. That it seems they want to try and get rid of. So another big fight on our hands there, as there is with digital ID, and I'll be unpacking it all tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Rayana joins me at 1:30 on X and on YouTube. Look for Ascending Order with Basil Valentine.
Unprecedented. I want to do the stinger for that.
Unfiltered, uncensored, unprecedented.
Have they sorted out their logo yet?
No, it still says USP, which actually stands for Unprecedented Studio Partners.
Nice try. I give you an A for
Talk to Lebedopik about it if you don't like it. Anyway, great to see you all, and I'll see you all again very soon.
Yep, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely a crowd favorite, Basil Valentine. Check him out at Unprecedented TV. He is one of the best News Digest presenters out there. Should have been with the BBC, but life took.
Well, they wouldn't broadcast what I put
Life
out.
took a different turn at some point.
That's right.
Diverted off into a parallel reality, as one does.
It's a news edit. I put together clips from social media and comment on them for the first half hour, and then I have a guest join me for the second half hour for a conversation.
Oh, look, your admirers are coming out of the woodwork now.
Oh, little Carle, great.
Basil,
a veteran of the TNT days,
the
much missed
Stop
paycheck
double standards.
days.
Thanks, Basil. Long live the Baselmeister. There we are. Anonymous. No one would say that publicly. There had to be an N user, of course.
There you go. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you all very soon.
Basil here. Oh, wait. Look at that. Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Faulty Tower. So, Basil Faulty. The BBC, Basil Broadcasting Corporation.
There we go.
Very good. That's the one, yeah. Actually, I might borrow that.
Logo.
I'm setting up a separate channel. I might well borrow that.
Good one.
Yeah. do a sort of pastiche on the BBC logo.
Yeah.
That's it. See,
I think we might take that.
We generate ideas on this program. We're raining down with concepts and ideas. That's how smart this
I appreciate
ecosystem
that
we've
contribution
built here. It's just a
from
giant
is it Ian?
Intelligent. This is like a giant Palantir. This show. It's just
thanks, Ian.
See that? The Basil Broadcasting Corporation. Ian Taff. Ian Taff has always got nuggets of gold coming. I mean, literally, just like when he snores at night, there's nuggets of gold coming out of his nose. That's how talented Ian Taff is. Thank you, Ian, for that.
He says you're welcome to have it, Basil. So you're clear to use it.
That's a game changer. A game changer. I miss TNT. Bye, Basil. Yes.
Yeah.
Miss you.
Yeah,
TNT.
we miss the paychecks, don't we?
Look at this. The reigning Basil Rathbone.
100%.
Rick O'Brien. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
He was
Basil
a favorite of
is
mine.
The goat. You're the goat.
There you go.
All right.
That's a hell of a compliment right there.
Thank you.
The goat.
Thank you. Right, before I get overwhelmed and in typically British fashion, uncomfortable with compliments, I'm going to take my leave.
Yeah, but this one takes the biscuit, though. Here, Basil. Basil once tried to convince me that the Irish and Indian shared a common flag.
I don't think that was me.
It could have been you.
I don't remember that.
Can you repeat the name of Basil's show? Basil, what was
the name of the show? It's called Ascending Order, and it's streamed out live on X if you find Unprecedented TV, and it's streamed out live on YouTube if you find Unprecedented TV on YouTube. There's over 300 shows now under that banner. Look for the USP symbol, and it's 1 o'clock UK time, Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
Monday to Thursday. Take
Right, so
Friday off.
great program. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. The community
Daily
takes
news
another
stuff.
great forward with every live chat. Great discussion. You better believe it.
No,
You better
no,
believe it.
no, for
Take
now.
care, Basil.
There he goes.
All the best. There we go. There's Mr. Valentine. Gentlemen, final thoughts before we wrap up this conclave of meeting of the minds here at the Sunday Wire. Mr. Hesher, go
Well,
ahead.
just want to thank everybody in the Boiler Room Discord, in the 21 Wire YouTube, Rumble, X, both X accounts, the Facebook feed, BitChute. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Be sure and support if you can. We've got a support link up there at 21stcenturywire.com. We have another one at alternatecurrentradio.com. And get over to 21stcenturywire.com. Check out the latest articles. If you missed Midweek Wire, you can find that on both our websites. It's up there. And yeah, thanks for having me, Patrick. Great to have you back running the setup today. Looking great here. Smooth show. And again, appreciate all the commentary there. And we'll see you for Boiler Room on Thursday. We didn't do a Boiler Room this week, so apologies for that. I did a movie review stream instead on Friday night over at the Digital Minefield channel on YouTube, so you can check that out if you're into 40-year-old horror movies like I am. That's it, man. Thanks for having me once again.
Thank you, and thanks for a fantastic job guest hosting the Sunday Wire. 2 great episodes. Those are up on our, if you missed those, up on our website, 21stcenturywire.com in the features section. Latest one pinned, but scroll down, you'll see the Sunday Wire section just below, along with the Sunday screening section and all the different news areas there. Ruckus, take us home.
Yeah, sure. If you're really having trouble finding stuff on 21stcenturywire.com, how dare you? You can always just head on over to the other one, alternatecurrentradio.com, and that is actually a quick hit to find just the audio, just the video. That's what you want. You don't want to dig through all those articles. You'll do that later, and you should. Absolutely should be doing that. But if you just want, where's Sunday Wire? I can't find it. There's 5 pages of all this good stuff, and it's going to take me hours. Just go to alternatecurrentradio.com. You'll find it right on the top, front and center, alongside Boiler Room, Daily Ruckus when I do them, but I've been doing the Roundabout Ruckus, which is predominantly me making guest appearances on a weekly basis with Sam Chaney on Weaponized News. Shout out to Weaponized News and Sam Chaney. I do also make appearances on other shows, and when I do, you will find them again at alternatecurrentradio.com under the moniker of Roundabout Ruckus, because it's just fun. And then it gives me an excuse to make all my fun stuff. And this was the one that I made for today, in case you guys missed it. They're debating, like, oh, why aren't people celebrating the end of the genocide? Because that's a weird thing to say. Like let's celebrate. Yes, we're happy that the genocide has ended, but that's not like a celebratory kind of thing, as if they're going to have like an actual party or something, like to welcome these people home. And if they do, who's going to be there to welcome them home, and to what? This is a bittersweet victory here. Sure, they stopped bombing everybody. Well, shit, they already bombed everything. There's nothing left to bomb. So like, why don't we get everybody back in here, and then, hey, something could always go wrong and we could just start bombing them again. Yeah, it'd be fun. They don't even have buildings to protect them anymore. They'll just be in tents. We saw how well that worked out recently. So, the jury's out whether or not this is an actual peace deal. If this was an actual ceasefire, I'm happy that the fire has ceased. Probably for the first time in 2 years. So that's good news. But how long is it going to last, Patrick? How long?
Yeah, that's the thing. The genocide has paused. It's paused. That's the way I look at it. And people say, why aren't you celebrating? I said, well, if Israel's a 0% record for upholding their end of a ceasefire, I'm probably going to hold my celebrations. That's just me. That's kind of stupid to celebrate. But as I said, the Palestinians deserve to celebrate, even having 1 night, 2 nights a week or a month, whatever they get in terms of a break. I will not deny that their joy, for that. I absolutely. But for us, we have to remain vigilant. So that's just the way it is. So yeah, celebration for the Palestinians. And for us, remain vigilant. That's the game. That's where we're at on this. But thank you, Ruckus. I'm impressed with your graphic animation skills. You have to show
Getting
me
better.
show us how to do some of those tricks. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And great discussion, of course. And thank you to everybody in the comments. I mean, we got nearly 1,000 or over 1,000 comments, I think. I'm not sure on all the different platforms, quite a few. So yeah, it was good. And yeah, thank you, Hesher, for helping us on the technical snafu. I see the Rumble comments coming through. That's definitely a good look. I appreciate
Slid that under the door at the last second there.
Last
That's why we were a
second.
little bit late today, everybody, but we got Rumble going. It was worth it.
We were about to put the kibosh on Rumble, and Hesher says, hold on, hold the presses, and right in there. So that was great. So yeah, thank you guys on Rumble. We've got you coming in as well, and we'll try to get you guys in more involved the next time. It's just the tsunami of YouTube comments that just came piling in, but I see the Rumble has caught up. The Rumble crowd is caught up there. So also we got some Facebook commenters as well, a few Facebook commenters as well. So yeah, we got 3 different platforms. So we'll hopefully get some more integrated into this stream, and we're going to feature and highlight as much of these excellent comments as possible. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody. Take care, Ruckus. Take care, Hesher. All the best, gentlemen. It's been real. And that's all we have time for today, folks. We're going to wrap up this edition of the Sunday Wire, episode 564 of this weekly omnibus news and analysis TV and radio program. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. This has been very informative, very good discussion, big important issues, the illusion of peace, the illusion of a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, you couldn't make this up, but we're here to expose all that. And appreciate you guys for coming along for the ride. And again, check out the interview from the Midweek Wire. Highly recommended. We spoke to Iara Montarelli, who came off of the flotilla, and spoke to her for well over an hour and a half. All of the details. And again, there she is upon her release, along with her crewmates from Spain. And it was a great story, very moving and well detailed. And she had a go at Ben Gvir. I mean, that part alone is worth. Go back and watch that, folks. It's up on our website. It's on our Rumble and YouTube channels as well. Again, share our links to our videos across social media. This one week we can break the algorithm. It really helps us in terms of generating some more views. We're highly throttled, especially on YouTube. But yeah, anything you can do to help us in that department, much appreciated. So that's all we've got time for. And as always, we need your support. So there's a lot of you love this show, and you guys show up, and we love the fact you're showing up in the comment threads. We'd also like you to show up on supporting this platform as well. And if you look at the content that we're putting out daily, we're hitting all of the top stories, and we're hitting them with hard analysis and fantastic documents posted. So we have a great team, and we need your help. We have to expand this team. We've been able to expand in a lot of areas: viral videos, research content, investigations. We've got a lot some big stories coming. One big one next week. So to make that work, we need your support. Subscribe and become a member at 21wired.tv. That's one way you can hit us every month for around $5 a month. And that's huge if you can do that for us. And there's a number of ways to pay. We've got different things set up, as you can see. Go to the donate gold button, top of the website, 21stcenturywire.com. Need your support, guys. Need it. Coming into the winter as well. So we will hopefully run a winter fundraising drive as well. So you guys are familiar with that. But that's what's needed. That's what has to happen for us to move forward. Thank you very much for joining us, especially everybody on X as well. Saw some of you guys on X. You're hanging right through the broadcast and also retweeting, reposting the live stream. We really appreciate that. Even after the program, still repost it onto your feeds. That helps us to break Musk's shadow banning that he does on our X account. which is heavy, actually. So it's one thing you do to overcome Elon's own little censorship regime. Who knows who he's got working for him back there, but they're throttling our account and sent our followers backwards, counting in reverse. Some of you noticed that, and the analytics have fallen off the cliff. So yeah, Elon's all about fair play and free speech, right? No, not really. Not for people who oppose whatever he's pushing. So anyway, we need your help to overcome some of that. But let's not digress too far down that. But we need to say it. We need to say it, and we need your help on all of those fronts. So appreciate you guys who are committed to the cause. Take care, and we'll leave you with, well, a few things. We'll leave you with this amazing track by Peter Conway, and maybe a little bit of something else afterwards. Take care. All the best.
Don't need war, we need peace. We need to find a release from the ties that bind our minds, from the constraints that rule our lives. Politics has failed again. Power's in the hands of dangerous men, with their fury and their rage, and minds bent with fear, greed and hate. They're dropping bombs again. They don't know that all lives are heaven sent. Time to stop the genocide, the warmongering in our times. Now is the time. It's time for us to visualize a world where peace will shine. Now is the time. Now is the time. Now's the time for change. Tell me, do you feel the same? For here we stand in the name of love. All peoples of the world as one. The revelation needed on the street is that we're more powerful than we believe. What they don't want us to know is that the light of love we shine they can't control. The other day I spoke to God. She said to me, share this message in a song. It's time to stop the genocide, the warmongering in our times. Now is the time. It's time for us to visualize a world where peace will shine. Now is the time. Now is the time. Don't need war, we need peace. We need to come together in unity. can change the world tonight when we let love be our guiding light. It's time to stop the genocide, the warmongering in our times now. Now is the time. It's time for us to visualize a world where peace will shine now. Now is the time. It's time to heal dividing lines for the sake of humankind now. Now is the time. It's time for us to realize we're all one in God's mind now. Now is the time. Now is the time. We don't need war, we need peace. We don't need war, we need peace. We don't need war, we need peace.
Genocide is never justified. There ain't no reason. 'Cause human beings are more than just a kind, defined by race or religion. 'Cause we all have souls and a mission here on earth. Only God knows why. You can't decide their death, 'cause you weren't here for their birth, or their first laugh or cry. Don't let the children die. Don't let the children die. Sisters and brothers, we know it's wrong when we see their fathers cry with their mothers. Genocide is never justified. There ain't no reason. 'Cause human beings are more than just a kind, defined by race or religion. 'Cause we all have souls and a mission here on earth. Only God knows why. You can't decide their death, 'cause you weren't here for their birth, or their first laugh or cry. Don't let the children die.
When you're tired of being just a commodity, you are the revolution. And when gaslit into another war, stand strong because you are the revolution.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution
that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution.
They conspire against you, accuse you of terrorism, to steal your sovereignty. Hold fast, watch it collapse. But just stop. I know that we still have the power. You are the revolution. They want to centralize, monopolize, control your thoughts. Breathe, go deep, go outside, put seeds in the ground. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. Alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution.
You are not alone. That you've been waiting for.
Oh, hi. Is this a train to the revolution?
Why, yes, my lady. And you're right on time.